The starting price of the life fruit is 500 billion universe dollars. However, the life fruit is equivalent to another life for the sector lord. Hence the price will be higher. Usually over 2 trillion. If there are more people fighting for it, the price could go even higher. Babata said. There's no other way. Luo Feng shook his head and gave up on the life fruit. Even though Hong wanted a life fruit, he was also prepared to grow the cloud contact vine. In truth, using the life fruit to grow the cloud contact vine was a very wasteful action, because while the life fruit was precious, it was equivalent to another life for the sector lord. Using it to grow a plant life, the price-to-performance ratio was far from other items like the one he bought before, the rising water fruit. Back then, in the world within a world, fighting for the thunderstones to exchange for treasures, you used the life fruit to grow the cloud contact vine. However, in truth, overeating isn't good for the body. The life fruit's energy is too strong and huge. Swallowing it all at once will cause the cloud contact vine to overeat, wasting a lot of the medicine. It's simply too wasteful. And the life fruit's best use isn't to grow plant life. Didn't you buy 200 rising water fruits? The rising water fruit is used to grow spirit beasts and plant life, and the medicine's effects are much smaller than the life fruit, much easier to endure. Even though the cloud contact vine will overeat, it won't explode like the life fruit. Every 10 days it eats one rising water fruit. Spending 3 years eating 100 of them, your big brother Hong's cloud contact vine will grow to the universe level 3 or 4. It's much better than swallowing the life fruit at once. The life fruit, the final price was 2,860.9 billion. It was cheaper than the Nan Shen Armament, but it was still ridiculous. In the following auctions, precious treasures appeared one after another, causing Luo Feng to drool, because he didn't have enough money in his pockets anymore. Even if I don't buy it, it's not bad to take a look. Luo Feng smiled as he held the auction tag, looking at the 1,000 items on it, randomly clicking on an item and looking at its detailed information. The detailed information of the precious items was indeed an eye-opener. It allowed Luo Feng to know many secrets of the universe. When Luo Feng was attending the Ganwu Universe country's greatest event, the Ganwu Auction, his little brother Luo Hua was in his own workshop. 9-star bay, that villa's workshop. How boring. Lying on the chair, there were 6 laptops on the desk in front of him at the same time. Each laptop had a web page open on the screen, monitoring his 6 most important investments. I played a virtual fighting game for half a day and then a virtual gun battle for half a day. I have nothing to do. How boring. Luo Hua lay on the couch with his legs on the table. The others in the studio were doing their own thing seriously. As a financial investor, he could be idle for 10 days to half a month, or even a few months to half a year. Once the market started to rise, they would be very busy. Boss, XPHF 000891, 9279 suddenly appeared with a huge bill. A young girl shouted. Oh. Luo Hua, who was originally very relaxed, suddenly sat up straight, pulled his chair and slid it to the table. He stared at the screen of the second laptop on the left. The screen was obviously showing the huge bill. Luo Hua grinned. I'm not afraid of you stirring up trouble, but I'm afraid of you being dead. This is our chance. On this investment, Luo Hua had invested 35% of his capital. For someone with such a large amount of capital, investing so much in one investment was considered a very high allocation. The reason why he did this was because Luo Hua had confidence. From the initial capital of 700 billion universe dollars, it had risen to 800 billion in 2 years. The profit was considered small, but Luo Hua hadn't sold it yet. He was waiting for an opportunity. How long it is horizontally, how high it is vertically. It depends on who has the most patience. Let's hope this time it's the real deal. Luo Hua was like a poisonous snake staring at the screen. In the universe's investment market, don't even talk about his 2 trillion universe dollars capital. He was a 4-star client or even a 5-star client. He had to be careful. This was because the bigger the investment, the easier it was for some financial giants to appear. Who knows, it might be the investment department of some universe country, it might be the Universe Galaxy Bank, the Universe First Bank, or some super organization. The moment he bumped into them, if he wasn't careful, not only would he not get any benefits, he might even die. 3 times leverage within the security perimeter. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, keep an eye on XPHF 000891, 9279. Same rules. Luo Hua shouted. Yes, boss. A group of youths from Earth were extremely excited. Luo Hua's investment had a trading cycle of 12 hours, and each trade lasted for 4 hours. Boss, the price is rising rapidly, it's already risen by 6%, are we going to sell or not? Wait. Luo Hua shouted. It's starting to fall, there's only 5% left, continue falling. The moment the price started to fluctuate, it was indeed worrisome. This was because the moment it fell by a third, with their current 3 times leverage, they would all be wiped out. At that time, their 700 billion universe dollars capital would all return to zero, and they would lose everything. Luo Hua was expressionless, like a poisonous snake, staring at the screen in front of him. There's still 2 minutes until the market closes. It's rising, it's starting to rise. The first trading cycle, up 12%. The second trading cycle, up 8%. The third trading cycle, down 6%. In the fourth trading cycle, it was volatile and fell slightly by 0.8%. The market had gone from a stagnant state to a state of chaos. Even some financial giants didn't dare to be careless. This was because if they played too big, the moment it fell, they wouldn't be able to get rid of it. When dealing with large and small funds, it was actually more difficult for the large funds to double. The fifth trading cycle, on the other hand, was soaring, rising in a straight line, all the way to the limit of 15%. Sell off 30% of the stock in batches. Luo Hua ordered coldly. Boss, the market is very good now. If it keeps rising today, many small investors will also go crazy tomorrow. There's definitely room for it to continue rising. Suddenly, someone shouted. Although they shouted, they didn't dare to hesitate in their actions. Boss's orders, they could raise their opinions, but they had to execute it. At such a crucial moment, if they were late, they could suffer heavy losses. Sell off 1 set. Sell off 2 sets. Sell off 3 sets. 3 team leaders shouted loudly. Luo Hua, who was sitting in front of his desk, revealed a smile. Very good. The 6th trading cycle, the price continued to rise. It seemed like Luo Hua had sold off too early. This investment is a total of $700 billion. Sell off 30% of the stock, that's $210 billion. With 3 times leverage, if it continues to rise today, we'll earn 20 to 30 billion universe dollars less. The young people discussed quietly. Although they were discussing, they didn't dare to disobey Luo Hua's orders. Sell off 10% of the stock. Continue to sell off 10% of the stock. In the 7th trading cycle, Luo Hua actually sold off twice. In this 7th trading cycle, the price kept rising. In the 8th trading cycle, just as it started to rise, it started to fall. In the end, it was sealed at the limit down. At the start of the 9th trading cycle, it continued to fall. Buy 10% of the stock. Luo Hua ordered. In such a thrilling situation of rising and falling, Luo Hua made clear orders again and again. It seemed like a dangerous order to buy, but as it rose, it became a profit. In the 12th trading cycle, it continued to rise. Then it continued to rise. In this process, Luo Hua had been selling off. Target achieved. Sell off the remaining stock. Luo Hua ordered. Yes. The market was booming. Luo Hua had already sold off all the stock he had. 2 years of waiting and half a year of planning. Now the harvest is complete. Luo Hua smiled. No matter how much it continued to rise, it didn't matter to him anymore. His target had been achieved and that was enough. Final settlement, the cash is 4,681 billion, and the capital is 700 billion. That's more than 6 times the capital. Luo Hua was very satisfied. Reasonable use of leverage could indeed allow him to earn excess returns. However, leverage could easily lead to losses. It was a double-edged sword. This investment continued to rise for the next 3 trading cycles. Occasionally it would fall slightly, but overall it maintained a steady rise. This caused countless investors in the universe to be extremely excited. Following the first limit down, this investment continued to fall for 3 consecutive times. Because everyone was so scared, no one bought it. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. All of them were in my hands. Luo Hua shook his head and sighed. Who knows how many people were forced to commit suicide because of this. Boss is amazing. Boss is still the calmest. In the studio, seeing the 4 consecutive limits down, they were all drenched in cold sweat. 4 limits down, each 15%. Only half of the highest price was left. Moreover, it was just a short 4 cycles, which was only 2 days. This kind of crazy fall was simply too frightening. Some people profit, some people lose. Luo Hua shook his head. Those who know how to buy are experts. Those who know how to sell are the winners. It's fine as long as you reach your target. Don't be too greedy. Originally, I was prepared for 20% to 30% of this investment to not be able to be sold in time. I didn't expect it to be better than I expected. Luo Hua ordered. Alright, this price can be used to build a portfolio. Build a portfolio of 100 billion within the 1% range. Do not use leverage. Under inertia, this price will continue to fall. Understood. His underlings immediately started building their portfolio. Even though they knew it would fall, they still built it. Even though it would rise, they still sold it. Seems stupid. However, after every transaction, they would realize the brilliance of these orders. Calm down. Luo Hua was very clear that the main reason he was able to succeed was because of his absolute calmness. This was a type of absolute calmness that was formed from being disabled and alone for a long period of time during his youth. Calmness and seizing opportunities, along with some talent and some investment culture from Earth, created Luo Hua. Brother, I have 4,200 billion in cash here. During the 13th transaction cycle, Luo Hua directly transferred this sum of money to LuoFeng. The Ganwu auction usually lasts for around 10 days. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. Every batch of 1,000 items is auctioned and lasts 3 to 6 hours. The length of the auction varies. The 10th day of the Ganwu auction. In the gigantic auction hall, large amounts of sector lords sat on the millions of thrones. They all looked towards the host in the center. A total of 50 batches of items, a total of 50,000 items, have all been auctioned off. The turtle-shelled old man laughed loudly. Now, it's time for the final climax of this auction, the auction of the final 100 items. In this final auction, each item is either unique or extremely precious, and the starting price of each item is 0. The end of the auction. The final auction was about to begin. 4,200 billion universe dollars? In the distant densely packed thrones, in one of the inconspicuous thrones, LuoFeng's face was filled with shock. Luo Hua said in his letter that this is profit? His capital wasn't affected? 10 days ago his brother didn't earn much. In the blink of an eye he earned so much. Luo Feng was a bit stunned. Haha, Luo Feng, your brother's skill level is really high. Even if I were to operate it, I wouldn't be able to catch up to him. The bigger the capital, the harder it is to earn. Other large capitals won't let you eat meat so easily. Respect, respect. Babata couldn't stop praising. With this 400 billion universe dollars, you might be able to participate in the final auction. Next up is the first item of the finale. To be able to be the first item of the finale, this item is definitely one of the top 3 most valuable items in this auction. A golden leaf from the Ancient Klass tree. The turtle-shelled old man shouted loudly. At the same time, the image of a seemingly normal golden leaf appeared on the screen beside him. However, the entire leaf itself seemed to have some sort of mysterious power. The millions of seats in the auction hall were filled with confusion as they discussed. What's the Ancient Klass tree? What's that? Don't know. 99% of the millions of sector lords present were clueless. Luo Feng was also confused. Babata, what's this? This auction sure is ruthless. This auction is definitely the #1 item of the Ganwu auctions in the past 10,000 years. Babata exclaimed, this golden leaf from the Ancient Klass tree is an extremely valuable item in the vast universe. If you haven't reached the undying level, don't ask. There's a lot involved here. Order the Empire's investment department to transfer as much money as possible to me. On one of the many thrones in the auction hall, a middle-aged man with long hair and long eyebrows ordered through his virtual assistant. Oh, the golden leaf from the Ancient Klass tree? This time, I'm only here for the slot to enter the Primal Universe. I didn't expect to encounter a golden leaf. A chubby man wearing a strange armor stood there. It was as if an infinite amount of thunder and lightning gathered around him. He was like the embodiment of the origin laws. Those who know how valuable this golden leaf is understand its value. Those who don't know, forget it. There's a request from above that I can't go into detail. The turtle-shelled old man shouted, begin the auction, starting price 0. The first item of the finale, the golden leaf from the Ancient Klass tree, began the auction. 1,000 mixed elements. The first number appeared on the tokens in the hands of the millions of sector lords present, as well as some extremely wealthy individuals and even undying existences. This made Luo Feng take in a deep breath. 1,000 mixed elements right off the bat? Such a huge amount of money could buy a few hundred life fruits or a small starfield. 2,000 mixed elements. 2,200 mixed elements. 2,800 mixed elements. 3,300 mixed elements. The rise of the price stunned everyone present. To an undying existence, this was a huge amount. Deity Master, the entire Empire's treasury is out of money. Bastard. A bald, handsome and tall man cursed in a low voice. His eyes were filled with absolute darkness and coldness. He was like the embodiment of the night. At this time, the bid had already reached 5,000 mixed elements. Unbelievable. Luo Feng was shocked. The minimum requirement for a 4-star customer is 10,000 mixed elements. That's considered a better standard amongst the undying. Babata said, right now, the ones competing should all be undying. Luo Feng nodded. Sector Lord Kabo, his wealth was comparable to a poorer undying, only 200 to 300 mixed elements. But now the price had reached 5,000 mixed elements. This price made the sector lords dumbfounded. The first and last items in the finale of the auction will be very precious, Babata explained. 8,900 mixed elements. Is there anything higher? The turtle-shelled old man shouted with a smile. This price was already above the acceptable price of the organizers. If no one bid above the acceptable price, the organizers would arrange for someone to buy it. 8,950 mixed elements. Another new high price. 8,960 mixed elements. Obviously, the price increases were much smaller each time. The subsequent price increases were very, very small. Everyone 8990 mixed elements. Is there anyone higher? The turtle-shelled old man looked around. Countdown 10 9, 3 2 1. Congratulations to guest number BW52522. You've acquired this incredibly precious Ancient Klass tree's golden leaf. Luo Feng was very shocked. This 8,990 mixed elements, even the E-grade automaton ship he acquired was only worth about 1 to 2,000 mixed elements. 8,990 mixed elements was enough to buy 5 to 6 automaton ships, and it was only enough to buy one leaf? As the finale items were auctioned off one by one, Luo Feng calmed down. So not every item was ridiculously expensive. Out of the 100 finale items, only 2 or 3 were ridiculously expensive. 20 of them were more expensive, while the rest were considered incredibly rare. As for the price, it wasn't that ridiculous. 22,000 universe dollars, countdown 3 2 1. Congratulations to guest number YPR20445, you've acquired this Sky Channel crystal. The next auction item is even rarer. Even in the auctions of the various universe countries, it's hard to find an item like this. The skin of a Mosha Clansman. The turtle-shelled old man shouted loudly. Immediately, the densely packed crowd of sector lords in the 1 million thrones in the auction hall began to boil. Yes, the skin of a Mosha Clansman, you didn't hear wrong. The turtle-shelled old man was extremely excited. On the screen beside him, a strange black skin appeared. On the skin, there were strange engravings of a dark gold color. Us humans and demon beasts are all flesh and blood type life forms. As for the Mosha Clansmen, they are energy type life forms. As long as their crystal core isn't destroyed, the Mosha Clansmen won't die. Even if they die, the Mosha Clansman's energy will dissipate, leaving behind only a shattered crystal core. Killing them is already extremely difficult, but to obtain their skin is even more difficult. As a race that specializes in assassination as well as being favored by space, their skin contains the space origin law engravings. I'm sure everyone understands the value of their skin. The million sector lords in the auction hall were all in discussion, and Luo Feng, who was seated amongst the many emperors, was rather excited. Mosha Clansman Luo Feng, this is the skin of a Mosha Clansman. If the Golden Horn Beast is said to have the talent of the Gold Origin Laws, then this Mosha Clansman has the talent of the Space Origin Laws. If you use its skin to nurture your second clone in your internal world, this is simply a perfect match. Babata was extremely excited. Luo Feng was stunned. His Golden Horn Beast could have 3 clones in its lifetime. The first one was the Earth-Human clone. And now that the Golden Horn Beast had reached the universe level, it could indeed nurture a second clone. As there were only 3 clones, Luo Feng didn't dare be careless. If there wasn't a good one, he'd rather leave it empty. Mosha Clansman? Luo Feng was filled with anticipation and suspicion. In the vast universe there are many races. The flesh and blood type life forms are considered the strongest. However, the other life forms cannot be underestimated. Like the strange races with eternal life, some metal life forms, energy life forms, soul life forms, plant life forms, etc. There are tens of millions of metal life forms. There are also tens of millions of plant life forms. In every life form there will be some that are favored by the universe. The energy life forms, the Mosha Clansman, belongs to the most elite race. The Mosha Clansman is known as the strongest race of assassins. Their only weakness is that their growth is extremely slow. However, the moment they grow they will become the most terrifying assassins. They are naturally proficient in space, making their appearances extremely strange. Their escape is also hard to defend against. Luo Feng, you have the Mosha Clansman body. Then you can use the Mosha Clansman body to study the space technique. It will be much easier. Babata said. Right, the Golden Horn Beast's 3 clones were the best to nurture. Right now, this Mosha Clansman skin was indeed suitable for nurturing clones. And the most precious thing to them is their skin. Because they are energy life forms, when they die, their bodies will dissipate like energy, leaving behind only an incomplete crystal core. Only when they are killed under special circumstances will their bodies be preserved. That's why their skin is especially precious. Oh right, the price of this skin is quite high, at least a few hundred mixed elements. You can't afford it. Babata said. Luo Feng was speechless. Can't afford it? Such a good choice for a second clone, yet he couldn't afford it. Actually, I don't need that much skin, I only need a little bit of it. Luo Feng thought to himself. However, he understood that no one would be stupid enough to give him a little bit. However, I regret to inform everyone. This Mosha Clansman skin is incomplete. The turtle-shelled old man pointed at the screen beside, at the black skin with the mysterious dark gold engravings. This skin is only a small portion of the Mosha Clansman's skin. The rest has been torn apart or destroyed during the battle. Who? Are you kidding me? Studying these engravings is already incredibly difficult. Buying it, it's hard for even 1 in 10,000 people to succeed in studying it. It's already not bad to get some inspiration. And the incomplete ones. There's almost no chance of success. Empty joy. The auction hall was in a hubbub of discussion. The difference between a complete skin and an incomplete one was like heaven and earth. This made many people disappointed, but it made a certain youth very excited. Fragmented is good. The more fragmented, the better. LuoFeng's eyes gleamed. Babata said, Luo Feng, the price of an incomplete one will be much lower than the complete one. According to my estimates, you can get it with 2 to 3 mixed elements. However, if an undying being is interested in it, he can raise the price to 10 mixed elements or even higher. Of the over 1 million participants, there were a few undying beings. If an undying being was interested, the price would definitely rise. To an undying being, 10 mixed elements wasn't a huge number. They probably won't fight for it. Luo Feng thought. That depends on luck. Most undying beings won't fight for these incomplete engravings. However, there may be some who are interested. Babata said. Luo Feng gritted his teeth. Fight it out? Let's see luck. This Mosha Clansman skin was definitely an extremely suitable choice for his second clone. As one of the elites of the energy life forms, known as the strongest assassin, even if it was slightly weaker than the Golden Horn Beast, it wouldn't be too far off. Just this skin alone was something that sector lords couldn't afford even if they sold their entire family's fortune. The Mosha Clansman skin, even if the space engravings are hard to study, there's still a chance. What's more, this Mosha Clansman skin is definitely extremely rare. There are very few Mosha Clansmen, so this skin is definitely one of the rarest and most valuable collectibles. In terms of collectibles, it's already high enough. The turtle-shelled old man said loudly. This made Luo Feng grit his teeth. Alright, let's begin the auction. The starting price is still 0. 1 mixed element. The first bid appeared on the screens of everyone's auction tokens. The auction for the Mosha Clansman skin began. The Mosha clan, one of the pinnacle of energy life forms, had the title of the strongest assassin clan. In terms of numbers, the Mosha Clansmen weren't as rare as the Golden Horn Beast. However, in terms of skin, the Mosha Clansman skin was no less valuable than the Golden Horn Beast's body. Was a pity? The damaged Mosha Clansman skin itself had very little training value, it was mainly a collectible. Luo Feng was still very happy about this. I hope the Undyings don't get rash. Luo Feng prayed within. One mixed element was a huge number to a sector lord. Unless there were special circumstances, they wouldn't waste money. The only thing he was afraid of was the Undyings throwing their money. 1,100 billion universe dollars. 1,150 billion universe dollars. On the screen, the numbers continued to rise. 1,150 billion universe dollars. 1,151 billion universe dollars. 1,560 billion. 1,590 billion. The numbers continued to jump. Within moments it had broken past 2 trillion, 2 mixed elements. Is there a need for a damaged piece of skin? Luo Feng gritted his teeth. That's a piece of skin with space engravings. Babata said. But it's damaged. Luo Feng gritted his teeth, entering a new high bid. The price continued to jump at a dazzling speed, especially with the occasional large jumps, causing the price to swiftly rise past 3 trillion. After which the price obviously began to drop. After all, this was just a damaged piece of Mosha Clansman Skin. 3 mixed elements, any higher and there's no point. In the millions of thrones, one of the thrones had a guest. He was dressed in a peculiar silver armor with white eyebrows, white pupils and a bald head. His entire face was filled with smiles, making one feel as though he was a warm sun. Even though he was warm, one had to look up to him. 3.6 mixed elements. If I get it, this Mosha Clansman Skin, I'll leave it in my training room. A silver-haired black-robed old man saw the price break past 3.6 trillion. He couldn't help but shake his head and stop bidding. Enough, stop going up. Luo Feng stared at the screen, his fingers gripping the tag so hard it was creaking. 3.9 trillion. Luo Feng gritted his teeth and entered the price again. Others could choose not to buy, but he had to grab the chance to buy. After entering the price, he stared at the screen and continued to look. The number displayed on the screen was still 3.9 billion universe dollars. After a few seconds it didn't change at all. This made Luo Feng excited. 3.9 trillion. Is there a higher price? 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, guest KND 99286. You have obtained the incomplete skin of a Mosha Clansman. The voice of the turtle-shelled elder echoed in the vast auction hall. Phew. Luo Feng looked at the information displayed on the token. He couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Haha, Luo Feng, you've succeeded. Babata was overjoyed. My luck is good. I was really afraid it would be more than I can handle. Luo Feng's face was full of smiles. That's enough. He had participated in this Ganwu auction and seen thousands of precious items. At the same time he had bought quite a few important items. The water fruit was for the cloud contact vine to consume. The Nan Shen Armament would be his personal weapon for a long time in the future, and the Mosha Clansman Skin would be used to nurture his second clone. The second clone, Mosha Clansman. Right now I'm just worried about one thing, Luo Feng thought. Worried about what? Babata asked. I'm worried about the strength level of the original owner of the Mosha Clansman Skin. Luo Feng thought, the golden horned beast's nurturing is unable to nurture a clone stronger than itself. Right now the golden horned beast is universe level 6, so the highest it can nurture is universe level 6. The original owner of this skin. I hope he doesn't exceed universe level 6. We can only rely on luck. However, Luo Feng, don't worry, the Mosha Clansman is the strongest assassin clan. The stronger they are, the harder they are to kill, much less leaving the skin intact after killing them. Hence, the chances of it being a sector lord is close to 0, the chances of it being a domain lord is higher, and the chances of it being a universe level is even higher. Of course, it still depends on your luck. This Ganwu auction attracted over half of the strong warriors within the Ganwu Universe country. Even some Undyings from other universe countries came to participate. The emperors of certain empires, the leaders of certain organizations, even the god lords and Undyings of certain god countries, they were all just participants of the auction, and Luo Feng was one of them too, and many of the higher-ranked figures. Their main reason for participating in this auction was for the most important finale item. Ladies and gentlemen, up till now, the final item has been auctioned off consecutively for 99 items. The turtle-shelled old man was all smiles, his voice resounding throughout the entire auction hall. Only the final item is left. Once this item is auctioned off, then this year's Ganwu auction will officially end. I believe everyone can't wait any longer. Actually I, old Badua, have been waiting impatiently too. The turtle-shelled old man's voice suddenly rose. Now, I solemnly announce this final item is a slot to enter the Primal Universe. The turtle-shelled old man's eyes were incomparably dazzling, his voice resounding, a sector lord slot. This is a slot to enter the Primal Universe. I believe all the sector lords and Undyings here are very clear on just how valuable this slot is. The entire auction hall was in an uproar, even though news of this had been spread long ago. Upon hearing that the final item was a slot, the entire place was still in an uproar. Primal Universe. The legendary Primal Universe. To be able to enter and take a look, even if I die at the end of my lifespan, it would be worth it. I heard that the Primal Universe is different from our actual universe. The slots to enter the Primal Universe have long been controlled by the 5 great Leviathans. Even the various universe countries find it hard to get a slot. Much less the sector lord slot. This is going to be crazy. The auction price will definitely be insane. The discussions were unceasing. Luo Feng could feel the passion, envy, anticipation and excitement contained within the discussions. Babata, the Primal Universe slot, what does that mean? Luo Feng asked. Primal Universe, what kind of place is that? Luo Feng, you should know the universe we are currently living in is extremely vast. The races are incomparably numerous. This universe is called the Original Universe. The Original Universe is an extremely complete universe. Wanting to comprehend the origin laws is extremely difficult. Babata said, however the Primal Universe is different. Primal. Since it's called the Primal Universe, it means that the Primal Universe is in the beginning stages of the universe's evolution. Legend has it that the Primal Universe hasn't given birth to any life yet. Legend has it that because the Primal Universe isn't complete, there are endless natural disasters. Legend has it that because it isn't complete, it's easier to comprehend the origin laws. In the universe, a few super-organizations like the Virtual Universe Company, Universe Galaxy Bank, Battleaxe Coliseum and the other 5 great Leviathans, will occasionally send a few important elites to the Primal Universe to study. Babata exclaimed, studying in the Primal Universe makes it easier to improve. Luo Feng was confused as he listened. Where did the Primal Universe come from? How do we get there? I don't know, Babata said. Within the auction hall, the turtle-shelled old man said loudly, Sector Lord Pinnacle entering the Primal Universe, the chances of reaching Undying is over 50%. This slot is incomparably precious, now let the auction begin. The starting bid is still 0. 1,000 mixed elements. Over 1 million guest tokens floated with this number. This made many Sector Lords sigh within, rich and overbearing. The number suddenly jumped. 10,000 mixed elements. Silence. The entire auction hall was completely silent. All the Sector Lords were stunned. This was the first time in the entire auction that the price reached 10,000 mixed elements. This was the minimum requirement for a 4-star account. Amongst the Undying, having 10,000 mixed elements was already considered not bad. Throwing out 10,000 mixed elements just for a Sector Lord level chance to comprehend was indeed very exaggerated. My god, this is just a Sector Lord slot. If it's an Undying slot, how expensive would it be? Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. Undying slots, they don't even appear in the beginner-level auctions. They usually appear in the middle-level auctions as the rare finale, or in the high-level auctions. Even your teacher, even if he sells his entire family's fortune, he still wouldn't be able to afford it. Babata exclaimed. Luo Feng was stunned. Your teacher went to participate in the auction back then, but ultimately he still couldn't afford it. Babata shook his head. Hence, your teacher hasn't been to the Primal Universe either. Teacher hasn't been? Even though he hasn't, but that's just a special place. The Primal Universe is the initial stage of the universe's evolution. In terms of size, it's far smaller than the Original Universe. Babata said, the Original Universe contains countless races, countless life forms. Humans are just one of the countless life forms in the Original Universe. The Original Universe is the true core. The other secret regions, god countries, worlds, Primal Universe and other special places, many of them are even attached to the Original Universe. Babata said, or in other words, many of them are just a part of the Original Universe. A part? Luo Feng was confused. Even if I tell you now you wouldn't understand. Cough. This I actually don't know much either. Even though your teacher is considered a warrior amongst the Undying, the vast universe, the strong are as common as the clouds. There are even a bunch stronger than your teacher. And the universe is too vast, even an Undying, spending trillions of years would find it hard to explore the entire universe. Hence, towards this universe your teacher only knows a little bit. Of course I don't know much either. Babata said, as the most ancient, strongest and most mysterious Original Universe, if you want to know more you'll have to rely on yourself. Luo Feng laughed. He was currently only in the Black Dragon Mountain starfield. He hadn't even entered the Ganwu Universe country, much less explored the entire universe. After all, the human race was just one of the life forms in the vast universe. 36,530 mixed elements. Are there any higher bids? 36,550 mixed element units? 37,000 mixed element units? Now it's 37,000 mixed element units. The turtle-shelled old man's voice resounded throughout the huge auction hall. Is there a higher price? The countdown is starting. 10, 9, 37,500 mixed elements. A new high bid at the last moment. If you miss it, it'll be hard to come by again. 3, 1. Congratulations guest TUF 49903, you've obtained a Sector Lord slot to enter the Primal Universe. I wish you the birth of a new Undying. The turtle-shelled old man's voice was loud. This auction, all the items have been auctioned off. Thank you everyone for your support. I, Old Badua, solemnly announce this auction has officially ended. Within the Ganwu Universe country's territory, there was an incredibly beautiful pale red planet called Fula Planet. It was rather famous within the Universe country because this was the home of a great Undying, and this Undying had a high position within the Virtual Universe Company. On the planet, a Universe soldier army belonging to the Virtual Universe Company was stationed here. Within this army, the normal soldiers were at least Universe-level warriors. Quick, the Ganwu auction is about to end. The 100 brothers who won from the duels earlier, hurry up and enter the network, prepare to receive the big figures. Haha, that auction is finally over. The brothers are all getting impatient. Within a huge army camp, there was a huge commotion. Second brother, I heard the Ganwu auction has gathered almost all the big figures of our universe country. I heard there are over 1,000,000 sector lords. And many undying beings. And a few youths with huge backgrounds. You have to help us take a good look, tell us when we get back. This time when we went to the alien battlefields, we didn't even see many undyings. Don't worry. Over 1,000,000 sector lords, I'll tell you when we get back. The military service period is over. Before we return to our planet territory, I didn't expect us brothers to have the chance to see such a scene. I heard the lowest requirement to participate in the Ganwu auction is a 3-star account. We probably won't have the chance to participate in it in our lifetimes. This time we've arranged for 100 of our army to go. We're really lucky. What's the requirement for a 3-star account? I heard the deposit has to reach 10 trillion universe dollars. My god, 10 trillion universe dollars? My territory only has a few hundred life planets. It's not even enough. This group of universe-level soldiers were in discussion, and the 100 victors all delightedly entered the virtual universe network. Virtual universe, Ganwu continent, one of the floating islands. The main structure of the floating island was that huge auction hall, and at this time silhouettes appeared one after another on the island. Under the arrangement, they were swiftly distributed to the important areas of the island. There were a total of a few thousand people, and these people who came to serve were at least universe level. Carter, I heard the guests here are almost all sector lords. Over 1,000,000 sector lords. I've never seen so many sector lords in my entire life. 2 men dressed in formal attire stood beside a bridge, discussing softly, suppressing their excitement. Universe-level warrior. Although they could dominate a certain galaxy, their status would be much lower when placed in the entire star field. And if it was placed within the vast universe country borders, then it was nothing at all. Just the Ganwu universe country alone had over 100 million galaxies. Within the universe country there were over 1,000,000 sector lords. How many organizations were there? Under the guidance of large amounts of sector lords, the probability of producing a universe level was much higher. The entire universe country, over 100 million galaxies, universe levels at least over 1 billion. The army sent to the alien battlefields, the soldiers were all universe levels. The universe warriors were very clear that in the entire universe country, they could only be considered the lowest rung, and the guests who attended the highest gathering of the universe country, the Ganwu auction, were the true upper echelons of the universe country. The auction has officially ended. All guests will leave the auction hall one after another. All guides must remember your duties. Your performance will be linked to your contribution points. A cold voice quickly spread through the minds of all the waiters on the floating island. The 2 men who were still talking in low voices immediately stood up straight. What? At the exits of the tall and beautiful auction hall in the distance, a large number of people began to appear. Over 1.8 million guests, over 99% of them were sector lords. There were also a portion of undyings as well as a few youths with extremely rich backgrounds. Sir, this is the teleportation point. The other places are for you to view our floating island. The waiters all had smiles on their faces, extremely respectful. 3 tall and sturdy men walked shoulder to shoulder, occasionally glancing at the waiters. However, the powerful willpower in their eyes made the waiters' hearts tremble. This is still in the virtual universe. If it was in reality the powerful willpower of a sector lord, one look would be enough to make our souls crumble. Sector lord after sector lord? Here, sector lords weren't worth much at all. Occasionally, some existences even more terrifying than sector lords would appear. Even though they had normal bodies in the virtual universe, their bodies contained undying willpower. That willpower that could communicate with the origin laws of the universe, made the waiters even more respectful. There are too many sector lords. The 2 that just walked past were too terrifying, they must be undyings. The waiters were all holding their breaths. There's another youth ahead, he doesn't look like a sector lord, and even less like an undying. He's probably a youth with an extremely powerful background. The waiters didn't dare to be careless. When the black-haired youth walked over, they smiled respectfully and said, "Sir, this way leads to the teleportation point. The other directions allow you to view our floating island." Oh. The black-haired youth nodded, smiling at the waiters before heading towards the teleportation point. He actually smiled at me? This youth really isn't arrogant at all. The universe-level waiters were extremely excited. They were used to seeing cold sector lords. Occasionally meeting one with a smile on his face made them feel warm. Luo Feng followed the waiter's directions and quickly arrived at the teleportation point. The guests here are almost all sector lords. With the willpower in their eyes, even though this is in the virtual universe, it's still very terrifying. These waiters are at least universe level, otherwise they'd definitely lose their composure. Babata said. I don't think it's that scary. Luo Feng said. Firstly, your willpower is quite strong. Your golden horned beast body is universe level 6. Secondly, when the sector lords see you, they'll treat you as equals and restrain themselves. After all, in the universe, there are 2 types of people you can't afford to offend. One is the absolute warriors, the second is those with an extremely powerful background. Babata said, and the weaker ones that come here usually have a strong background. Luo Feng nodded. Without a strong background, even if they got a treasure trove, they probably wouldn't even have a way to sell it. Sir, welcome to this auction. Thank you for your support. An incredibly beautiful reddish-brown long-haired lady smiled. That smile and frown seemed to contain a strange allure. Under the gentle voice of the lady, Luo Feng stepped into the teleportation point. As he teleported, he turned to look at the floating island. On the floating island, there was a group of universe-level waiters who were extremely respectful. There were also sector lords and undyings. Coming here, I'm a little nervous. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled. Shwa. The silhouettes vanished. To Luo Feng, participating in the Ganwu Universe country's highest event, the Ganwu Auction, felt like a dream. In the dream, the value of the treasures was comparable to a Milky Way galaxy. And now that he had awoken from the dream, Luo Feng returned to his hometown, the Ganwu Universe country's Black Dragon Mountain starfield, Milky Way galaxy, an unremarkable little planet. 15 days after the Ganwu Auction ended, Luo Feng brought Di Fan in a universe ship heading towards SwallowedStar. By SwallowedStar, it was still covered in white snow. Luo Feng walked ahead and Di Fan followed behind. Stepping on the snow, they walked towards the distant beautiful ship. That was a ship belonging to the Virtual Universe Company. Customer identity confirmed, you can trade. Under the electronic voice, the Virtual Universe Company's workers placed large chests on the ground. Luo Feng waved his hand and stored them in his space ring. Respected customer, thank you for your support of our Virtual Universe Company, thank you. Luo Feng shook hands with a silver short-haired middle-aged man. After which both parties separated, Luo Feng and Di Fan swiftly returned to the ship. I've acquired the items, let's return to Earth. Luo Feng ordered. The ship rushed into the sky, rushing out of SwallowedStar's atmosphere. After which it entered universe travel and entered the dark universe, heading towards Earth's coordinates. Within the ship's control room, large chests were placed there. I've spent enough wealth to buy 10 galaxies to get these treasures. Luo Feng exclaimed. Beside him Di Fan smiled, the more you invest, the more you'll gain. Master has spent so much wealth this time, I believe in the future, you'll be able to get hundreds or thousands of times more wealth. Haha. Luo Feng laughed and took a big step forward, immediately opening the chests. Pa. The first chest opened, revealing a sparkling box inside. Inside each box was an incomparably tender fruit with dewdrops on its surface. The rippling fruit. Although the rippling fruit couldn't compare to the fruit of life, it was still a very precious fruit. Even though the swelling water fruit couldn't compare to the life fruit, one swelling water fruit was still worth 1,000 life planets. Pa. Within the second chest, there were also large amounts of crystal clear chests stacked with the swelling water fruit. Pa. The third chest opened. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Within this chest was a dark golden peculiar long rod. It was one of the 9 godly weapons of the spirit reader controller, the Nan Shen Armament. Luo Feng squatted down and extended his hand to caress the dark golden peculiar long rod. He felt an extreme coldness from the metal, he couldn't help but feel anticipation within. This Nan Shen Armament would accompany him for thousands and tens of thousands of years. Pa. Luo Feng turned to open the last chest. Within it was the dark golden peculiar engravings on the damaged black skin. Second body? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, his heart burning with passion. In this universe, hard work and comprehension were important. However, talent and resources were extremely important too. A person with incredible hard work and comprehension may be able to dominate a galaxy. However, those with talent, background, rich resources, similarly hard work and comprehension, their achievements would be even higher. My goal is to become a strong warrior, a warrior amongst the undying, even surpassing my teacher. This foundation, naturally the more stable and stable the better. Luo Feng's eyes burned with passion. This damaged skin was what he relied on to nurture his second body. The moment it formed, the Golden Horn Beast's main training would be the Gold Universe Origin Energy. And his second body's main training would be the Space Origin Energy. Luo Feng's Earth body would be used to research the Nan Shen Armament's techniques. The three combined. His achievements would be limitless. Let's not think about this. Right, today is the 12th lunar month, it's only a few days until the new year. I should think about what gifts to give Ping Ping and Hai. Luo Feng rubbed his nose.